Chapter 13. Further aspects of transcendental service. Okay, so what it is, it's a type of analysis, a further analysis of each one of those five. And Prabhupada makes the point. Well, let's just have a look here at chapter 13, the first paragraph. Rupa Goswami has stated that 5 kinds of devotional activities, namely residing in Mathura, worshipping the deity, reciting the Bhagavatam, serving a devotee, and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, are so potent that a small attachment for any one of these 5 items can arouse devotional ecstasy even in a neophyte. The verse specifically says, just to make it a little more explicit, that just a small attachment to any one of these 5 can bring a person immediately to the level of bhava. Immediately to the level of bhava, even a person who's a neophyte. So in other words, these 5 are really very special. Now, so what happens here in this chapter 13 is that in order to glorify each one of these 5 angas or processes of devotional service, Srila Rupa Goswami has composed a verse to really emphasize and bring out the value, the potency, the importance of each particular process. In regard to the first 2, it's very interesting, and you'll see it's quite amazing. In order to glorify the first 2 processes, the verses he has written about each one are apparent criticisms. It seems like they're being criticized. Don't do them, they're not good. Let's have a look at the first one. As it appears here in Nectar of Devotion, my dear friend, if you still have any desire to enjoy the company of your friends within this material world, then don't look upon the form of Krishna, who is standing on the bank of Keshi Ghat, a bathing place in Vrindavan. He is known as Govinda, and his eyes are very enchanting. He's playing upon his flute, and on his head there is a peacock feather, and his whole body is illuminated by the moonlight in the sky. So, if you want to maintain your attachments to family, friendship, and materialistic love in the material world, he is advising, don't look at Govindaji. It's specifically the deity Govinda. Don't go to the temple of Govinda in Vrindavan, near Keshi Ghat. Don't do it. It's dangerous. It's like fatally dangerous. Because if you go there, and if you see Govinda, he's just so amazing, you'll lose interest. You'll lose interest in your family, friends, and materialistic love and all that. So don't do it. Now, the thing is, here's a point to understand. It's a point which actually is going to come out more clearly when we reach chapter 18. Chapter 18 is the second chapter describing the level of bhava. And it describes specifically the qualities of a person on the level of bhava. Chapter 18. There are 9 special qualities. One of them is extreme detachment. Not just your ordinary detachment, but extreme detachment. Like, in this case, you see the deity one time, and all your desires, all your attachments, which previously they were very important to you, but now all those attachments to family, friendship, and love, just because you saw Govinda one time, they're gone. And now you're totally detached. Means you've come to the level of bhava. This is the point. Not just that it's very nice and inspiring and you get fired up a bit, but it means like there's a radical transformation, very radical transformation by seeing the deity from one state of mind to permanently a much more advanced state of consciousness on the level of bhava. So you all devotees, we should be very careful. The curtains are going to open, I think, in 5 minutes. You better watch out. Because if you see Radha, we cannot guarantee that you'll be able to go back to your material situation. You may just throw it out the window, one of these windows, yeah. Really, this is the idea. Now, of course, for all of you, it's too late. Sorry. You already saw them, so what can be done? You're finished. You're finished. The point is, another point is, we may not have, it depends on each individual, but any particular individual here may not have actually, even though they've seen the deity even many times, they may not have yet manifested such extreme detachment. Maybe they have, but maybe not. So the point there is not that it just happens every time to everyone, that they're just elevated to the level of bhava, and that's it. Even though immediately before they were neophytes. But it can happen. It does happen sometimes. And at the very least, seeing the deity and the other of these 5 activities, at the very least, one should do them as much as possible, because they will accelerate your devotional service, accelerate your progress as much as possible. If you engage in these 5, any one of them, 2, 3, 4, or all 5, as much as possible. And therefore we see that Srila Prabhupada, in the way he's organized ISKCON, of course we sometimes do other things, but we do these 5 things really a lot. We mentioned that the other day, actually. So that's a very important point. And Prabhupada makes a comment here in the 3rd paragraph. It's still focusing on deity worship. Prabhupada says, the purport of this verse is that if someone becomes attached to the Sri Murti or deity of Krishna by worshipping at home, then he will forget his relationships of so-called friendship, love, and society. Thus, it is the duty of every householder to install deities of the Lord at home and to begin the process of worshipping along with all of his family members. This will save everyone from such unwanted activities as going to clubs, cinemas, and dancing parties, and smoking, drinking, etc. All such nonsense will be forgotten if one stresses the worship of the deity at home. Okay, so anyway, as we said, we'll see when we reach 18 that one of the qualities, characteristics of a person on the level of bhava is, the Sanskrit is virakti, or detachment, which Prabhupada says means having a natural distaste for the objects of the senses. It is the third of the 9 main symptoms of bhava. So, Hare Krishna, devotees, we will continue on tomorrow and go through this chapter, and then we'll see, possibly start the following chapter, which is the final chapter on Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.